This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Hi everybody, Dacob here. Welcome back to Totally Dacob. Chucky is with me because we're going to be talking Chucky, the TV show, Season 1, Episode 7. We are only one episode away from the end. I don't want it to end, although it's been turning quite grim and darker than I would have expected it to turn. I know it's been gorish from the get-go, but it's been a little bit more lighthearted in the beginning. I think it's turning maybe a little bit too dark for my taste. I would like a little bit more comedy there, but whatever. Okay, so anyway, this episode is called Twice the Grieving, Double the Loss. Now, I wrote down a couple of notes here. So, the mayor of the city. Now, Chucky, I mean, dude, what? I don't know what he got planned, but, well, I think we're suspicious of what he's planning, and we're kind of understanding more and more where all of this is going to, especially after this episode. The mayor is planning, the mayor is in total denial of the fact that the city is literally falling apart. And the mayor is just like saying like, hey, the city has never been better. Let's do a little thing. Next week we're going to have the Frankenstein. We're gonna play it in the city. I don't know if they're gonna play it. Is it gonna be open air? I forgot what did she say? Announced a showdown. Oh, so anyway, I believe, as the mayor said, don't all these killings that are going down, doesn't matter. We have our spirit is alive. We're gonna go and celebrate Frankenstein. We're gonna go to the screening of Frankenstein. The whole city should come and enjoy this moment. I think that this is a setup for the showdown, with all the Chuckys that are going to be there. And it kind of made me think of Child's Play 3 or Chucky 3, where we had that kind of fair, the city fair going down, and Chucky in the House of Terrors, and his kind of, half of the face was cut off, and that whole nightmarish type of situation that we see, that gorish type of situation. It's a wonderful ending for Chucky 3. So I have the feeling there might be some sort of, because of Frankenstein, I don't know if it's just the theater where they're playing Frankenstein, or in the last episode they're also going to have some sort of maze or some sort of fair connected to Frankenstein. But anyway, I think the mayor set it up. Last episode, the end, that final battle will happen within the context of Frankenstein. And Frankenstein being not Dr. Frankenstein, but his monster, right? We always think that Frankenstein is the green creature. No, Frankenstein is the guy who creates the monster. But that idea of creating the monster is like, so is Chucky creating the monsters? Because Chucky is Dr. Frankenstein and he's kind of trying to make these kids kill. He wants to turn them into monsters. That's kind of the concept of Frankenstein that I see going here. But it could have other symbologies as well, because he has been, cut and slashed into pieces, sewn together again. He's like the monster that Tiffany put together after he was all damaged and messed up in Chucky 3. So he got all sewn up together in Bride of Chucky, and then we also see him in Seed of Chucky, still all scorched the same way like he was in Bride of Chucky, looking like the monster from Frankenstein. So there's that possibility to think about as well. He went through several transformations throughout the show, throughout season 1, as he was transferring his soul from one doll to the next, depending whether or not the dolls got deformed, burnt, melted, whatever, throughout the show. So there is that kind of mutation and morphing of this monster that is Charles Lee Ray inside the body of a doll. So Frankenstein definitely has a lot of meaning here. So I'm looking forward to how the Frankenstein topic will play out in the last episode. But back now to episode 7. Junior's dad is grieving. Junior is grieving. His mom is dead. Chucky killed her in episode 6. And now he's grieving. So here Okay, big spoilers coming up ahead. I should have said that at the beginning of the video. Sorry about that, but it is in the title. I always write spoiler alert in the title of the video. But anyway, up until now, just talked about Frankenstein. So let's go to episode 7. Spoiler alert. Spoilers ahead. Okay. Lexie. So first at this kind of wake for Junior's mom, Tiffany appears. And the kids are there with Junior's dad. So Jake witnesses the situation, Lexie witnesses the situation, Devin witnesses the situation, and Junior witnesses the situation of Tiffany exiting her Christine car and coming to Junior's dad and kissing him on the mouth. We obviously realize at this point, oh, Junior's dad knows Tiffany. What? Obviously, they had some sort of affair, because if she's kissing him on the mouth, and he opened his mouth to, he wasn't just like in shock and paralyzed while she kissed him. The camera very clearly showed us that he opened his mouth with the tongue and everything to kiss her. So she definitely has some power over him. Junior is shocked because his dad is supposed to be grieving the loss of his wife, Junior's mom, and instead he's like kissing this other chick. But he does seem confused, the father. Junior even more so. At this point, Devin, Lexie, and Jake, their little group is kind of falling apart, which is a pity, because I thought, I don't know, I wanted them to get stronger and stronger together. Instead, they kind of fell apart. You know, it's one of those typical episodes where the kids, something was growing, and then it all collapses, but then it's supposed to gear and veer together in the end and come together in the end again. Although these kids have experienced so many hard losses, and this is what I meant at the beginning of my video, saying it's turning, it's a very, very dark show. It's becoming darker than expected. And even though Chucky still has humor, and even though he still makes his jokes while he's killing people and stuff like that, they're killing all the parents of all of these kids. All of their parents are dying. Devin's mom, the police officer, died last episode. Junior's mom died last episode. Chucky killed her. Chucky killed both of them. Jake's dad died in the first episode. Chucky killed him. Lexie still has her parents, but her parents don't really care for her and are not showing her as much. So her dad is a little bit, but the mom is super complicated. Lexie, by the way, during the announcement of the mayor, her mom, that Frankenstein movie is going to take place in the next episode, the reporters are asking her mom, like, hey, aren't you taking it seriously, this whole situation with the, killing and this and that? And she's like, no, the life is going on. We are an amazing community. And then they also ask a question to Lexie's sister, which Carolyn tells Lexie. So they also ask, like, so what do you think? I forgot what the question was the press asked her. But anyway, the kid is kind of in shock. Lexie takes Caroline aback, and Caroline says, Chucky told me to kill you, mom, and dad. And Lexie says, what did Chucky do? Yeah, she's like, Chucky wants me to kill the whole family. So Lexie starts becoming suspicious, because we already witnessed Lexie in the last episode. Chucky tried to make Lexie kill Jake. So Lexie's starting to connect the dots here. Why is Chucky trying to make all of these kids kill somebody when he can kill whoever he wants? Why does he need the kids to kill? At this point, we have the tombstone intro. So the name Chucky is formed in a different way in every episode. In this episode, we have tombstones of all the people that he killed, forming the name Chucky. Wonderful intro, very gothic, living for it. We realized that Junior, who up until last episode always made the other three kids, Lexie, Devin, and Jake, feel like idiots, because when they told him that Chucky is alive, he said, they're all crazy, they're all assholes for lying to him, what the hell? Well, now we realize that actually Junior is talking to Chucky. Junior knows that Chucky is alive. Chucky is talking to Junior, and Chucky is manipulating Junior. Chucky's trying to make Junior kill his dad. Tiffany comes back at one point to Junior's house, bringing Swedish meatballs or something to Junior's dad. Junior takes them. And here we have an interesting meta moment where Tiffany says, "Oh, do you know me, Junior?" And he says, "No." Junior says, "I know you from somewhere." And Tiffany says, "Aren't you too young?" What are her exact words? "Aren't you too young to have seen me in Unbound?" So the movie where not Tiffany, but Jennifer Tilly acted in. And as we know from Seed of Chucky, Jennifer Tilly and Tiffany are two separate characters. Tiffany possesses Jennifer Tilly, but Jennifer Tilly was her own person. She didn't act. She did act, but in Seed of Chucky, she is herself. She's an actress acting in a movie as herself, right? So here we have we catch a glimpse of Tiffany actually knowing that she is in the body of Jennifer Tilly. Very, 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 very fascinating moment, because it makes me think, well, if Charles Lee Ray is possessing Nika's body and all of the Chucky dolls' bodies, but can also leave them at any given moment, can Tiffany leave the body of Tilly as well? Will that happen? Will Jennifer Tilly become Jennifer Tilly again? Just like Nika has her moments when she becomes Nika and not Nika again. Maybe, possibly, why not? But it kind of also opens up a whole other can of worms, because, I mean, Tiffany in Bride of Chucky was Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly was not Jennifer Tilly. Jennifer Tilly became Jennifer Tilly in Seed of Chucky, the movie after Bride of Chucky. So there's a little bit of a discrepancy there in the logistics, but let's see how that continues, right? So at this point, when Lexie questions her, well, I mean, we kind of figured it out on our own up until now from what has been going on in the past episodes, but Lexie guides us to that final conclusion that actually Chucky is looking to gain power. There's something that allows him to maintain and gain power spiritually by making others kill for him. We still don't know how that mechanically works, how he harvests energy from that, but he does. And by the end of this episode, we're going to see how. Not how, but we're going to see that it does happen. So Chucky's endgame is power through making others kill. Others kill for him. In fact, the way he pushes Junior over the brink and wants to make him kill his dad is telling him, like, he's using Junior's weaknesses against him, because Junior's dad would always, push Junior to be sportive just like he was or is, and an overachiever just like he is. And so prove it, like you can do it, you're a man, this and that. So Chucky uses that same type of conversation with Junior to push Junior over the brink to kill his dad by telling him, prove it. You're just a sissy. You can't do it. You can't do anything. Oh, you think you can kill somebody? You think you can kill your dad, who's a total douchebag, asshole? Look, he kissed somebody else, blah, 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 blah. Prove it. And Junior proves it. Junior does end up killing his own dad. And that death scene is very fascinating, because we have the revelation of Chucky reveals himself to Junior's dad, but Junior is literally holding Chucky like this. Junior's dad is there. Junior is kind of pushing his dad away from him with Chucky, and Chucky obviously starts talking to the father. So the father still thinks that behind Chucky, Junior is manipulating Chucky to, so his dad is still kind of talking to Junior as if it were Junior talking. He still doesn't realize that it's actually Chucky. But then Junior starts taking Chucky and bashing in his father's skull with Chucky. And we see these frantic close-ups, like as he's lifting Chucky, and here we have Space Odyssey, a very Stanley Kubrick moment. When the apes realize that they can use a bone as a weapon, and the moment that the apes realize that they can use weapons, that's when humanity was born. So kind of Junior realizes that as well. So we have that Space Odyssey moment of the apes when Junior is using Chucky as this bone to bash his father's brains in. And then we have a close-up camera of Chucky laughing. He's like, wee! He's like super happy that he's like flying in the air because, Junior's holding him by the leg, using him to smash his dad's brains in. And you have these like close-ups of Chucky being like, yay! Wee! I mean, it's insane. It's insane. A masterpiece of horror, really, because there's a comedic touch to something so tragic. And and yes, he does bash his dad's brains in with Chucky. And as that is happening, we realize something. Now let's backtrack for a second. As I said, the group of friends is falling apart. Jake, Lexie, and Devin. Devin, his mom is dead. He has no place to go. He doesn't have a dad. So he's going to spend some time with his aunt. And then he reveals to Jake, hey, I got to move from this house. I can't live here. I can't afford anything. I'm going to stay with my aunt. But my aunt can't keep me more than a week. I'm going to probably end up in some foster home. Um, and so I'm leaving. And so you just bring trouble. I can't really be with you because everywhere you go, you bring death with you. So he breaks up with Jake. It's kind of heartbreaking, really. So Jake is super sad. He also feels like he needs to leave. So he packs up his backpack and wants to leave Hackensack. And he is somewhere at a bus stop. And at this point, I don't understand how the plot line switches. I have the feeling, okay, Jake wants to leave. We see Jake leave, steal the money of his uncle from his wallet. The uncle is drunk. The uncle can't deal with the loss of his wife, plus Tiffany kissing him. The uncle he's not dead yet. As I said, we're backtracking here. He's asleep on the couch. Jake steals money from his uncle's wallet and leaves the house. He's at some station and then he sees this post guy walking past him with a box, a good guy's box. And the good guy's box has a Chucky inside. So Jake stands up and runs after him and gives him all the money he stole from his uncle to bribe the post guy to give him Chucky and tell him where the address was that he was supposed to deliver it to. Turns out that the address where the doll was supposed to be delivered to is Charles Lee Ray's birth home or child home, where Tiffany in episode 6 moved into because she bought the place and she dragged Nika in there. Now we find out that actually Tiffany is in on it with Chucky, obviously, because, I mean, even though she says she prefers Nika to Chucky over Chucky, she's still doing Chucky's bidding because we realize pretty soon as Devin is about to leave Hackensack, Devin has second thoughts, sees the collection of papers that he was collecting on the whole murder case of Charles Lee Ray and finds that, he wants to go to the birth home of Charles Lee Ray, which is in Hackensack. Which you think to yourself, why haven't they done that before? I mean, we're already 7 episodes in. Why has anybody ever thought to go to his birth home? Ever. Up until this moment. Why didn't even Andy think of it? Andy, by the way, ditches Kyle because he doesn't want her to risk her life. I guess he wants to protect her. So he leaves. There's some gas stop. She goes to buy some stuff, buys gloves, like, yeah, we're real fighters together. Then he kind of doesn't let her back into the car. He drives off. Kyle is like, what the hell? Andy's on his way to Hackensack. I'm like, he's still not there? I thought all of episode 6 is going to be Andy in Hackensack. No, Andy doesn't make it to Hackensack all up until the end of episode 7. Devin is now, before he leaves Hackensack, he wants to find Charles Lee Ray's house. Another funny moment where he's like on the street right next to the house. He's like looking like, where's the house? Where's the house? And then like his GPS thing on his phone says, you've arrived your destination. And then he like sees it again. Oh, that's the house. Okay. I'm like, dude, it's the only house on the street that is completely torn down. Like weeds growing all around it, whatever. So he breaks into the house. Nika is waking up because she's all tied up from episode 6 and she's screaming for help. So this is the Nika that we know. This is not Charles Lee Ray. As Devin unties Nika, Chucky goes back into Nika's body and is now like, hits Devin on the head or whatever he does with him and ties Devin up. So now Devin is basically a prisoner inside the Charles Lee Ray house. Crazy. Jake bribed the post guy to give him the Chucky doll and to tell him where the Chucky doll was supposed to be delivered. The Chucky doll was supposed to be delivered to Charles Lee Ray's house. What? Why? We still don't know, but we're going to find out soon. So he smashes the doll all over the place just to see if it's possessed or not. Seems like the doll is not possessed because it's not reacting to any pain. He takes it to Lexie's place, or so it seems to be Lexie's place. And Lexie says, what's with Devin? He said, we broke up. She's like, but we're your family now. Why did you want to leave? Long story short, they're trying to get an Uber to take them to the Charles Lee Ray house because they find out that the address that Chucky doll was being taken to is Charles Lee Ray's house. So they leave the doll in the kitchen. They go to the living room to talk. This is when Junior kills his dad. As Junior is killing his dad, we see two things. One thing, the Chucky doll that's in Lexie's kitchen is coming alive. It was dead up until that moment, but now it's coming alive. So as Junior is finally doing the killing for Chucky, it's like Chucky is charging his energy, and that doll in the kitchen in Lexie's house is becoming possessed by Chucky. So it kind of stands up, grabs a knife, jumps off the kitchen counter, and is heading towards the living room. At the same time, we see Devin tied up in the Charles Lee Ray house. We don't see Nika. We just see him tied up. And the camera kind of pans and you see an army of Chuckys. The entire apartment, the entire house, or the entire living room or whatever room he's tied up in, the entire room he's in is full of Chucky dolls. And as Junior kills his dad, all of those Chucky dolls come to life. And it seems like they're all possessed by Charles Lee Ray. It's like they're all his army now. And we're thinking, holy moly, this is going to be a battle scene of epic proportions. If there's going to be hundreds of Chuckys battling the three kids, because at this point we lost Junior. Junior is totally cuckoo. Like after he finished killing his dad, he started singing a song, and then Chucky started singing the song with him. Like he lost it completely. So I don't know if Junior is going to kind of have a redeeming moment. How can you redeem that? How can you redeem somebody after they killed their own parent? Is that redeemable? I don't think so. But anyway, so Junior is on the floor covered with blood, like totally lost it, singing a song, and then Chucky starts singing with him. He's like, yeah. And while all that is happening, all the other Chucky army comes to life in the Charles Lee Ray house. And it ends there with Andy arriving to Hackensack, ringing the doorbell. I'm not so sure if it was of Junior's house or of Lexie's house. One of the two houses. But it doesn't matter. Why doesn't matter? Because in Lexie's house, we got the other Chucky alive in the kitchen. And in Junior's house, we got the Chucky with Junior. Saying, that's kind of the end of the episode. He realizes that Andy has arrived, and Chucky says, now the real fun begins, because Chucky now has his whole army with him. And that's the end of the episode. However, they're trying to make us forget one little tiny detail. And that detail is that 2 episodes ago, when Devin's mom was still alive, she went to Jake's school and arrested Miss Fairchild. Miss Fairchild being Jake's teacher. Jake, Lexie's, Junior's, and Devin's teacher. The red-headed female teacher that ended up in prison. We've never seen her since 2 episodes. I wonder what is going on with her now, because, I mean, the police officer that arrested her is dead. Since Miss Fairchild has been arrested, a lot of other people have died. So now we have the proof, because she's been in prison, she couldn't have committed those crimes. They're going to let her go. And the fact that Don Mancini, I see what you're doing there, Don. The fact that Don Mancini is not mentioning her at all thus far, like he forgot about her these 2 episodes. This is telling me that she's going to have her huge comeback in the last episode. And we're going to have this big reveal that she is Glen/Glenda. And I think the only way to stop Chucky at this point isn't Andy. It isn't Kyle. It isn't Tiffany, because Tiffany obviously told Nika in the last episode that she prefers Nika to Chucky. So we see that Tiffany has beef with Charles Lee Ray as well. It has to be, I think, a whole conglomerate connection of all of them together. It has to be Glen/Glenda Tiffany, the kids, everybody together has to come together and Andy and Kyle, all of them have to come together to stop Chucky. And in fact, the only time he had really emotions about anybody, talking about anything or anybody, it was when he talked about Glen slash Glenda. When he talked about his kid, he said, my kid, the gender fluid stuff, the whole gender conversation that he had with Jake towards the beginning of the season was about his kid. And if he still has a heart in him, it's for Glen or Glenda. Or maybe not. But the fact that the fact that Miss Fairchild hasn't been seen at all in the last almost 3 episodes is very indicative to me of the fact that Don Mancini wants us to forget about her so that he can surprise us with her in the last episode. So she might be the key how to block Chucky in season 1. I'm so looking forward to next week's episode, even though I'm devastated that it's the last. I was so hoping that I was wrong and that there would be 10 episodes, but no, there are only 8. Will the show be renewed for season 2? I desperately hope so, because it's just beautifully shot, beautifully cast. It just works very well. Anyway, let me read a couple of your comments. Blonde and Chatty says, like how we're hearing a remix tonight, right? You should give Chucky a plate, says Blonde and Chatty. But listen, the thing about... Okay, so I feel like it's so hard to not love Chucky. I mean, he's so evil. But to a point where, like, he enjoys torturing people, killing, and you're in such a shock when you see what he does and how he does it. But at the same time, there's something about him that is so endearing. I know it sounds super sick. Like, how is that even possible? I think it is the essence of the bully, and this is how Don Mancini manages to deliver the magic of Child's Play, really, of Chucky, is that is the whole point of Chucky. He gets to you, he's the quintessential bully. He gets to you by lying to you, by making you feel good. And by making you feel good, he makes you do what he wants you to do. And so he bullies you into, and then if you don't want to do what he wants you to do, then he gets really angry at you, and then he can, like, call you names, make you feel miserable, bully you, up to even kill you. So, Ollie says evil was once good. Well, except Don Mancini was very clear. He was very, very particular about this. He showed us in season 1 of Chucky that Chucky was never good. Even when he was a kid, when he was a tiny little child, he killed his own mother. So, for the hell of it, because he kind of liked the vibe of the serial killer that entered their home. That whole moment of homaging Halloween, 1978 Halloween with Michael Myers in the closet. Very, very wonderfully thought through scene. Great way to homage a masterpiece, but also showed us that Charles Lee Ray was a monster from the get-go. And in fact, Chucky keeps repeating, some killers or monsters are born and some are made, right? So there you have it, guys. Let me know in the comment section down below what your thoughts are. Have you enjoyed the series thus far and what you think about it? Did you like episode 7? Was it too much? Has it become too dark? Is the show progressing in a darker and darker way or not? Let me know your opinions. Until next time, never forget to never give up on Chucky love. This was Totally Dacob. Until next time, bye.